Ladies and gents, we have finished Metal Gear 2 on stream, and this game is insanely good. We're bumping it up 3 years to 1990. Let's check out Metal Gear 2. The storyline in Metal Gear 2 is way more involved than it was in Metal Gear 1. The world is in a crisis. Oil is running out, and this one scientist created like a synthetic substitute for oil called Oilix. As soon as he creates this thing, announces it to the world, he gets kidnapped. He's brought to this place called Zanzibar Land, and as it turns out, this is Big Boss, who somehow didn't die, brought him there and is in tandem creating another Metal Gear. So, of course, Snake definitely gonna need to get in there and do something about that. This is where the series gets darker, it gets much more complex and meaty. The storyline really starts to matter. In Metal Gear 2, I feel like this is the moment when Kojima truly becomes interested in making his game cinematic. But I thought they killed you.
You've still got a lot to learn, Snake. I was almost killed, but not by them. By you and your country.
The big thing in Metal Gear 2 is that the stealth is way more involved this time. The first big change from Metal Gear 1 is that you can crouch. And that creates a whole new dynamic for this game. There are low walls you can go behind, there are things you can crawl inside of. In addition to that, guards can hear you. There are like different kinds of floors that will make noise. You can actually punch the walls and the guards will come running towards the area where the wall was punched. There's a lot more that you can do, not only that works against you, but you can also use this to your advantage. This whole complexity to the stealth, it just makes it a lot harder to sneak around. So, like, I was dying very often in this game at the beginning. I don't know. In a Souls game, we've averaged our death time to be once every 30 minutes. And in this game, it's about once every 30 seconds. So I'm pretty sure Metal Gear 2 is more difficult than Souls. Another big change that influences the stealth in this game is that you have a radar that actually goes across multiple screens. It shows 9 different screens worth of things. And what that means is that the radar not only shows the locations of guards on all of these 9 screens surrounding you, but it also means that the guards can patrol across all of these screens. So there's a huge patrol area the guards will go on. They could be anywhere at any time, so you really have to keep an eye on where these guys are. This really made it feel like the world wasn't just catered to us, which I think is a big difference between Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2. The other thing that I think is a huge triumph in Metal Gear 2 is that they really focused on the bosses this time. They utilized the multiple screens in the boss battles a lot to force you to think outside the box, no pun intended, I guess. But they really want you to think in such a way that you're not just trying to shoot these guys, you're really trying to think about, like, how can I use multiple weapons? How can I utilize everything I have in order to take these guys down? Hey, running man, I'm gonna force you to go over here, and then guess what? Oh my god. I stepped on my own landmines! Kojima got me again. I don't think he even planned for that one, but Kojima works in mysterious ways. But as we keep going through the story, a lot of shades of gray going on with these characters. Early on in the game, you learn that the NATO bombing that took place at the end of Metal Gear 1, taking out the Outer Heaven complex, actually created a bunch of orphans, and Big Boss took them in just because they had nowhere to go. So it kind of creates this really interesting like picture of Big Boss as not necessarily a completely bad guy, and also the government as not necessarily being that great, because they did all this to these innocent people. So, you know, out of the gate, Kojima is really interested in tackling some much more complex subject matter. My mother spent days in the sewers under the city, fleeing from the Nazis. Her skin and clothes were caked black with mud. You could not even see her face. My mother and I are much alike. We are both haunted by war. What's really interesting is if you had a NES back in the day and you played a game called Metal Gear 2, it's actually a completely different game than the one that Kojima made. When Metal Gear 1 came out, it was a big success. Konami wanted to make a sequel, and Kojima did not want to do it. So Konami made their own video game called Metal Gear 2 Snake's Revenge. And Kojima had no idea that this was even being created. It was completely without his knowledge or consent. The story goes that he was on a train one day. He met one of his friends from Konami who was working on this secret Metal Gear 2 project. And then Kojima was like, what the hell? I want to make Metal Gear 2 if anyone's going to make it. And so he came up with his own idea for a Metal Gear 2 that he then pitched to Konami, and they allowed him to make in tandem to the other game called Snake's Revenge. So the real Metal Gear 2 is called Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. That's the one we played on stream. That's the canon Metal Gear 2. There's also another entirely different video game for the NES called Metal Gear 2 Snake's Revenge. So if you want to play the actual Metal Gear 2 that has, consequence on the plot of any of the other franchise games, you want to look for Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. You can get this in the HD collection or the Legacy collection of Metal Gear Solid, which they put out on the PS3 and 360. Metal Gear 2, go check it out, guys. Highly recommended. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching this classic game review of Metal Gear 2. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on this YouTube channel. We have all sorts of classic game reviews as well as other behind the scenes of our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.